All right, and welcome back to this second edition of Arlington Community Media's series on Black History Month, focused on folks from Arlington. Today I'm joined by Marine Second Lieutenant Monye Nwokogba. Monye, thank you so much for being with us here.
Oh, wonderful. It is a pleasure.
I know a little bit about your background pre-service. You were all around the world. You're well-traveled. Can you tell me a little bit about where you grew up?
Basically, I was born in 1995. I was born in Port Harcourt, which is in southern Nigeria. I went to elementary school in the region, Port Harcourt as well. Then at 11, after the 6th grade, I moved to western Nigeria, the border between the west and northern Nigeria, a place called Kwara State. I went to a British-influenced boarding school in Offa, Kwara State for 6 years, from about 2006 to 2012. After that, I moved to the States officially. I'd been visiting on and off for my summers, and when I moved here, I went to Harvard Extension School for a semester, like kind of just to get a feel of the American education system. Then I transferred down to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, where I got my Bachelor's of Science in Aerospace Engineering. So that's kind of the background pre-service. And as for my travels, those were just maybe some summer expeditions in between school semesters.
Well, that must have been a big transition. I mean, you were only in the States for, 6 months or so before you headed off to extension school and then on to Embry-Riddle?
A little, yes, in the sense, because basically I've just been here for my summer, so I've just been here on a more vacation standpoint. So when I came here for the extension school, I even think I missed one class because of something with the airline. So immediately I got here, I was off to class the next week.
Wow.
So it was kind of a big transition because you come here for vacation, like you go to Martha's Vineyard, the Cape, then finally you're supposed to get up and take the 77 and go to class. So yeah, it was a big transition.
Well, you must have been ready to do it. Obviously, you succeeded at a very high level. And Embry-Riddle, especially the studies that you chose to take on while you were there, are top-level stuff. What was your experience like in college?
My experience in college was that of a lack of sleep. Let's just get out of the way. But I enjoyed my college experience. I would say that it was very challenging, but also very rewarding. I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it, because every morning when you wake up as an aerospace engineering major, you're pushing yourself to the limit. So to be honest, that was my reward from it, working hard, doing my best in a field that I love, and basically setting myself up for a good future. So my college experience was also challenging as well, because the aerospace engineering program at Embry-Riddle is extremely tough. They make sure to basically put you through the ringer. So on that, I had to work extremely hard just to keep a good GPA, maybe my work-life balance wasn't all the best. It was downright horrible, but it was an experience I enjoyed.
Well, you mentioned kind of themes of working hard, having a goal and going after it. And obviously after graduation, you went on to serve your country in the Marines as a second lieutenant. So it seems like there's a theme here to your life so far. What drew you to serve?
What drew me? Basically, I was always thinking about the military, trying to go in. So what drew me to the military was, to be honest, I thought it would just be a good experience after college. It was one of those things that it seemed exciting. It seemed like an adventure, something to do. I don't think I was just ready to straight out of college, just go work for an engineering firm. I was like, that seems, I don't know, how should I say, I think I wanted a little more twist in my story. So the military is what drew me to me. What drew me to the Marine Corps specifically was the Marine Corps is the most military branch and the hardest to get into. So I guess the theme you're talking about is I like difficulty. So that was why the Marine Corps stood out to me, because I knew it would be the challenge. They have the hardest physical fitness test and an additional combat fitness test, as well as the longest boot camp and probably the hardest officer training. So just knowing, because I believe with great challenge and hard work comes great reward. So to be honest, I just wanted a very good reward from my military service. So that is why, like I say, what drew me to the military and specifically the Marine Corps.
Tell me a little bit more about the process of actually getting into your position now, because we were talking a little bit before we went on camera, and you mentioned it now too. I think you're understating just how difficult it is to go through all that.
Yes. Like we tend to focus on the positive, but basically, my Marine Corps career, I would officially say my search to become an officer started, I think, in probably about, I want to say, in May of 2014. I filled out the little pamphlet of like the officer and the aviation information. I put it in the mailbox. Then that summer, I had an internship in Nigeria, and I got an email. Then I was like, oh, I just traveled for vacation. And they're like, oh, when you get back to the States, we'll set up an interview. Then I met something called an officer selection officer at my school cafeteria. I saw his name tag. I was like, oh, you're from the emails. Like, do you want to have lunch with me? Then we started talking, and I was hooked. Then that's where I started the process, the paperwork. And this is all 2014. So it took me, like, I'm not the fastest runner, so I had to work very hard on my physical fitness. So it took me till I did not get selected for officer candidate school till December of 2015. December 31st is when I found. Well, I found out in January 1st, 2016, but they sent the message in December 31st, so the time zone difference between Nigeria and the States was different. So basically, I got selected in 2015, and I went to officer candidate school from May 2016 to August 2016. So that is basically my Marine Corps career, and pre-OCS was just, of course, the paperwork, the medical, background checks, and of course, a lot of physical training to get in. And for OCS, well, at least I did it. I studied all the knowledge I would be tested on in OCS. I read the Marine Officer's Guide, a big, thick red book issued to you for potential officers. So basically, it was just a lot of study, a lot of physical training, and a lot of just learning about the Marine Corps in general. Whether it's reading the Marine Corps comic called Terminal Lance, because to kind of give me an insight to what goes on in this organization. Like, sure, you see the flashy commercials, but what is the day-to-day life? What is it like? So that was just basically the in-between years.
So, you may not have been the only person going through much of this process pre-OCS in Nigeria, but you're probably one of the very few. Was it ever an extra challenge to have to go through, going through a lot of these pre-steps an ocean away?
To be honest, I do not think it was a challenge. The only challenge I would say where my dual citizenship came into question was after OCS, to take my appointment as a second lieutenant, I have to surrender my Nigerian citizenship. So basically just trying to get in touch with the embassy to actually denounce it was a very huge deal. The Nigerian embassy is, I guess they're not the most efficient embassy in the world, and especially when it comes to denouncing citizenship, it's not really their top priority. So that would probably be the only challenge I faced where my decision came into question. And maybe I guess another thing was for OCS, I'm probably one of the only very few people to go into OCS with a passport for another country, which in itself is, I believe, a very unique experience. So I don't think it was difficult. I think it was more, how should I say, a just very unique set of opportunities. And maybe once in a while, my accent did come into question during training. So I say it is what it is. Like, I found them as unique, enjoyable situations. So I've just used it to move forward.
Yeah. Do you think, in a way, your sort of unique experience or the duality of your upbringings maybe is an advantage for you as you lead a platoon of enlisted men yourself now?
Oh, I definitely think so. Because one of the reasons why is, as you said earlier, travel. So I think basically one of the reasons I've noticed from the Terminal Lance strip from the comic book is a lot of the enlisted men, they just, I don't know how to put it, they always wonder, like, what experiences does he have to lead us? So basically, I'm one of these people, like, I grew up in a third world country. I've been to several other third world countries. I've been to Europe. I've traveled around. And basically, it's one of those things. I've moved from another country on my own from 17. So it's one of those things that's like, all these experiences, I believe, has helped shape me and given me, how should I say, a broader perspective of just basically interacting with people and getting to know what they're about and what they want.
So you're just 22 years old now, and you graduated from college in December.
Yes.
So this is still, I'd imagine, pretty new in a lot of ways. Has it ever been daunting to take on this big responsibility at such a young age?
Not really. Like they say, the Marine Corps is how should I say, is a very young age. Like most Marines are between the ages of 19 and I think mid-20s. So basically, I'm like basically the average age of a Marine. So basically, I don't think it has been as, maybe when I move forward it may be daunting, but for now I feel very comfortable. I feel very in my element.
And what does a typical day for you look like? We are talking about how you wanted to know the day to day of a Marine life before you joined it. What does your day to day look like?
So my day to day when I was active duty back in the summer, that was offshore Canada school, so that was training. That is very different. So basically, your day to day life is waking up probably at like 03:30, getting ready for the day. Then official lights on is at 4 a.m. Then what you do is you clean your barracks, you go for morning chow, probably have some physical training, get back to the squad bay, some hygiene time, probably a class, practice some close order drill, afternoon chow, then maybe go back for another class, some more drill. Then in your barracks you have what they call a core values class, probably taught by maybe one of your sergeant instructors or your platoon commander, just to kind of like literally kind of give you an insight into the Marine Corps, how you expect it to behave and all that. Then evening chow, get back, your personal time, hygiene time, and that's lights out. So that is just basically kind of an average day. But that's in training. But for now, when I start for my something called temporary duty, PTAD, basically a day-to-day activity would be kind of just working in an office for the meantime before I report to the basic school. 6-month extra training for second lieutenants in the Marine Corps. So basically my day-to-day life will be kind of normal for like a regular office job for the meantime. But in the basic school, it's more teaching you to be a rifle platoon commander. So basically focuses more on infantry tactics and basically how the fleet operates as a Marine Air Ground Task Force, a MACTAF. So that is kind of what a day-to-day activity looks like for a Marine.
Those sound like full days. Did you ever along the way have someone give you some really great advice that helped you get through the tough days, the challenges, a mentor or something like that?
Oh, definitely. At my Daytona Beach, the officer selection team in Orlando, I believe they gave me some of the best advice ever. Like my Staff Sergeant Davila, two of my OSOs, Captain DeLue and Captain Dellinger. Basically, they kind of showed me that OCS it's a mental battle. It's mental, it's physical. They want to weed you out. They want to break you down and see who quits. So basically, for the tough days for OCS, they were just like, you have to keep moving forward. They gave me some techniques of how to live during OCS, like you live from chow to chow, that's basically meal to meal, and weekend to weekend. So you take it one step at a time, and always know time is moving forward. No matter what, even if you're doing something pointless, your time there is ticking. So basically, that was kind of the solid advice, and of course, the usual: train hard. So when you get there, you can hit the ground running.
Folks watching at home right now, especially younger folks, they see an incredibly accomplished young man who went through a lot of tough stuff to get to where you are. What would you say to people watching at home who think, I'd like to do that?
The only thing I would say is like, I'm never gonna say like, oh, you need to work hard, work smart, and stuff. I'll just say is you really have to want it. Like at the end of the day, I think what separates a lot of people is how bad you want it, and when you want it, like basically when you want it to a level, like you will find a way to do everything possible to get it. So basically, the only thing I say is just want it. Just want it in a way. Like just want to have your degree, just want to have your accomplishments, and you will work towards them.
And now looking towards your future, what do you see in the next 2, 3, 4 years for yourself?
For the next 2, 3, 4 years, I see myself definitely as a lieutenant, as a platoon commander out in the Fleet Marine Force. I definitely see that. Hopefully in 4 years, I will be able to hopefully get my promotion to captain. So basically, that's kind of what I see for myself as a company grade officer in the Fleet Marine Force. That's where I see myself like 2 to 4 years.
And you think if someone reached out to you, some younger person reached out to you and said, "Hey, Second Lieutenant Monye, or future, hopefully Captain Monye, can you show me the way?" Would that be something that you would feel motivated to do to help out?
Of course, because one thing about Marines, about the Marine Corps, is we are a family, and anybody brave enough to try to become a Marine is like, I think is one of those things we have to help, because in every new organization you do need a current influx of good, capable leaders. So that is why recruiting command is so important. Like you need that influence. And as like as an officer, hopefully an officer in the fleet in several years, like I say, I want to do my part to bring more capable people, so to better the organization, because we can always be improved upon. So definitely, I see myself doing that. Even I've heard instances of people about to go to boot camp and approach just random people they saw with like Marine Corps shirts in the gym, and like the Marines actually helping them out, like
Really?
getting them strong. Yes, because it's a family. It's a very tight knit family. Like there are not that many Marines around, so finding a Marine is, like I say, is not something done easily. So when Marines are found, like we're always willing to help, to get you strong, get you mentally tough and ready for the challenges ahead.
So you'd say it's a decision you're glad you made?
Yes, definitely.
Obviously, it's such an incredible challenge, physically, mentally, emotionally, going through OCS and boot camp and basic in the future. I'm certain there are days where the clock seems to go incredibly slowly. It just drags on and on because you're in such a challenging situation. What keeps you going in those moments where it feels like you're never going to make it through?
Like I said earlier, one of the main things for me, at least, is just wanting, like, everything I've set out to do is something that I wanted deeply as a person. So it's one of those things, and like, I don't know how to put, like, I've just had the drive, like, to want it. Like, so basically, I've wanted my degree, I've wanted my commission. So basically, these are things that, like, I can't imagine myself doing anything else. And another thing that I've realized is just simply not quitting is almost half the battle. Like, if you say, like, oh, I'm not gonna quit, you realize how fast the time goes. Like in college, like even the hard classes, like it's just I'm not gonna drop it. Like I'm gonna get my grade up and I'm gonna pass this class and I'm gonna move on to bigger and better things. So basically, in OCS, it was kind of the same thing. Like I'm just like, no matter how hard this gets, I am never gonna quit. Like you guys are kicking me out of here. Like it's one of those things. Like I'm here to stay. I may have an accent and a funny last name, but like I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. So basically, that's what I think. Just wanting it and just never giving up. Like never, like it will come into your mind to quit. Like everybody's normal. Like there is nobody that's gone through OCS. I was told this once. There's nobody who has gone through OCS that has thought, "Oh, I love this place. I want to stay here forever." Everybody's like, "I hate this place. I want to quit." But it's one of those things. Like you can have those thoughts. It's perfectly natural. But the thing is, just don't do anything about them. Just have them in the back of your mind. But at the end of the day, at OCS, very soon it'll be time for personal time. And of course, you go to sleep and it's a whole new day. So basically just not quitting and wanting it.
You mentioned your accent and you called it the funny last name. Was it ever a challenge for you, being from where you're from, to integrate into the Marine culture?
The only challenge I'll say is pronouncing my last name and spelling it. Those are the only two challenges. And I guess at OCS, because it's such, of course, it's an American environment, that when they hear somebody with a different accent, it's almost like, what just happened? Like this is something we have never experienced before. So I don't think it was a challenge. Like the same Marines, all the same. So like I say, it's one big family, and we do welcome diversity into the ranks. So to be honest, I never really found it too much of a challenge.
And talking about these Marine values, your family for life, you welcome everyone. Anyone who's willing to put in the work is welcome. Where did you learn these values?
I would have to say that has been my upbringing and Nigeria in general, because basically, as my parents have told me, like my dad got a full academic scholarship to study in the States. That's how he met my mother. So it's one of those things that I'm just like, if you do work hard and persevere, it's never going to be all sunny days, but you will catch your breaks. Like you will get it. That is something I believe firmly. I believe like you are a maker of your own path, and if you are willing to work on it and put in the time, like not go halfway or anything, go headstrong, you can do that. And Nigeria, I believe, is a very because it's a very cultural place. It's a very family-oriented place. Like family is like almost the most important. Like your community, like you have your local government communities, you have your family community. So to be honest, like it's just that sense of family, like upbringing in Nigeria, and as well as my parents, like instilling that you kind of have to work hard. So I think that's where I pick up those values from, and I recognize them in the Marine Corps.
Well, Second Lieutenant Monye, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate your time, and good luck going forward.
Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it.